Nayan Handa, partner at Delhi branch. Warmly welcome you all to our weekly Saturday knowledge sharing webinars. So we are pleased to see the participants from the professional members of institute and industry colleagues and from across the locations. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to join us today. So today's session is on the topic Confluence of AI and profession of the company secretaries. Artificial intelligence, is no longer a future concept now, and so it is already influencing the compliance process, governance, framework, risk management, and advisory function. So for CS, this shift raises a practical questions like how will AI change the compliance execution, what skills will remain non-negotiable, and where does professional judgment still matter. So today's discussion aims to address such questions with clarity, and there is a practical insight. And it's my privilege to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Shujat bin Ali, and he is the Chief Legal Officer at Fourth Partner Energy. With over 24 years of experience across energy, environment, pharmaceuticals, IT, professional services, he lead legal, compliance, governance, and risk functions and advises senior leadership on strategy, transactions, and complex regulatory matter. Prior to this, to his current role, he served as a global general counsel and chief compliance officer at Re Sustainability Limited, a KKR backed enterprise, and he has held senior leadership position at Para Excel, International Paper, and Deloitte. He is a fellow member of the ICSI of India, a graduate in commerce and law, and a specialist in ADR and international arbitration. He has further strengthened his leadership perspective through executive programs at Harvard, ISB, and NLSIU. Mr. Shujat actively contributes to industry and professional bodies including CII, FICCI, ICSI, FTA, PCCI, and he is widely recognized among India's top general counsel and compliance leader by Business World, Forbes India, Legal Era, and Legal 500. A sought after speaker, he regularly engages on ethics, ESG, sustainability, corporate governance, compliance, and legal tech. So, we are equally honored to be joined by the eminent panel today, Professor Bala Krishnan, our moderator, with nearly 4 decades of experience in secretarial compliance, and he has worked with for Sesco India Limited and is a regular faculty at ICSI programs and a contributor to professional journals. Mr. Sudhakar Saraswatula, a chief consultant in Mehta and Mehta, a member of ICSI, ICAI, and former vice president, corporate secretarial at Legal Reliance Industry Limited with 17 years at RIL. On behalf of the entire Mehta and Mehta team, we thank all of our panelists for being part of today's session. With this, I request Bala sir to say something on the topic, and then requesting Sudhakar sir.
Good morning to all of you. I have a great pleasure in welcoming you all on this webinar on my own behalf and also on behalf of Mehta and Mehta. When we talk about the AI is actually a topic which has been very widely discussed. Very recently, I happened to watch a program on a Republic TV where Arnav was actually interacting with the blue machine and he was actually reacting. There are a lot of things which actually came out of that. Definitely gives. Yes, AI will definitely help us in assisting, taking a better way of doing the things, better leading a good arriving decision, etc. But ultimately, it cannot replace the human mind. The application of the human mind, the judgment, the skill, that has to still remain with the human only. That is what it came out actually in that program, which is actually there. But the only thing is today, it is a new topic to me. I take a little bit help of the AI because while making a presentation, etc., how to make a better presentation and other things and all in the better search, etc. That is what to limited extent I use it. I'm also interested in knowing people like our Sujats to know the exact things, what else and other things are stored for us. But at the same time, it is also very important to note when it comes to the CS profession, some or other, we have a mindset that we are only concerned with the compliance of Companies Act and the company related things. Although the company secretary is entrusted the job of complying with all the applicable to laws. When it's come to finance, we just run away from there. We don't keep with it. So probably that mindset has to change. That is one thing. Because the emphasis will be It should be on the learning mode because the learning, there is no thing. Learning is the continuous process. We have to upgrade ourselves to cater the future because what I understand is AI is definitely going to be the future. When we come to the board meeting, I think there will be AI will be present in the board meeting, which will actually assess, which will actually throw the opinion. This will actually give the thing, what is the better things to do, what is the better way to do, all those things the AI going to do in future. I understand some of the overseas companies already AI is present in the board meetings. That is what I actually keep reading it. So with my limited knowledge, only thing is I see we need to overcome our mindset. That is number one. We need to switch over to the learning mode. We need to upgrade our skills. And above all, we need to also think. But ultimately, our judgment is going to prevail. It is not AI is going to help us in taking it. Because when I was talking to some of the like-minded professionals, when I was talking to him and all the thing, oh, that means what? Our job will not be no longer will be there. It will be replaced by AI. This sort of a things which is not there. That sort of a thing should not be there. AI will speed up. It will take care of the routine work. It will do the routine things. It may write a minutes for you. It may give the suggested resolution for you. All those things it will do. But ultimately, with your judgment, you need to actually see whether it is perfectly right with your judgment. That is actually going to be the case. That's what, with my limited knowledge, I understand. Now I request Sudhakar to say on the few words because Sudhakar is actually a much widely traveled person who's actually addressing many forums, not only the company secretaries forums, and he has got a very vast experience. I think I would request Sudhakar to speak on this topic. Then I'm eagerly waiting to hear you from Sudhakar. Over to Sudhakar, please.
Thank you very much, Bala. Good morning, everyone. In fact, apart from Nayan, whatever she has introduced Shuyat is the most sought after speaker, and it has become really very difficult for me to bring him on our forum. In fact, I was trying for the last 3 months, if I am not wrong. But at last, the day has come. That's what I was telling before that we started this webinar also. So now, in fact, Shuyat is the right person according to me because he got a legal background. Apart from that thing, he got the governance as well as security background also. And of course, in fact, when we both were on the ESG board, when we were traveling from Delhi to Hyderabad, at that point of time, with whatever the interaction I had with him about this subject, that immediately I thought that, okay, we have to have one webinar on our platform. So readily he agreed, but only thing is because of his tight schedule, today only we could make that thing happen. According to me, as Bala has mentioned, that this AI is an unknown devil which is roaming around in the corporate sector as well as everywhere as a sector. Why only corporate sector? Everywhere, scaring the people because nobody knows exactly what it is. So everything, anything which is new, it is always the human beings are scary, and the people, especially that with less confidence, they are more scary about that. And the company secretaries, there are a lot of people, the way they are asking Bala, I'm sure that every one of us are also getting some youngsters, especially, whether I'm going to lose my job. The person will lose the job when he has no confidence on himself. AI is what? AI is only artificial intelligence. Can it beat NI? NI is natural intelligence. That's what we have. Artificiality can never be beat that naturality. That's what we have to understand first and foremost thing is. So it can never replace your job. AI is only an enabler. But at the same point of time, that there is a saying in English that if you become a slave to your mind, obviously the mind will start controlling you. So you have to make your mind as your slave so that you will be able to control your mind. If I am not wrong, I can extend the same inference to the AI also. AI is only an enabler. You have to ensure that AI works according to you, according to your commands, according to your directions, according to your dictatorial things. So you should be in a position to dictate AI and not the other way around. The moment it happens the other way around, it will be a problem. Say, for example, of course, Shiyat will deal in detail about that, but if take the chat GPT, without understanding its drawbacks, people started using that. And some kind of a debacles are also there. I'm sure that Shiyat will deal with that. I read somewhere, okay, that if a smallest of the smallest tiny pebble, if you take it and bring it to your near your eyeball, obviously it will completely cover it. It looks like as if it is a very, very big issue. Same is the case with AI also. Absolutely, according to me, nothing too scary about that. It is a small, tiny issue. Okay, keep that technology, no doubt about it, it will get developed over and above like this. In the early 80s, I remember in the banking industry when the computers were used, the unions went on strike completely. They were thinking that the computers are going to eat away their jobs. Same thing had happened more or less in the early 2000, when MCA has introduced this MCA 21. All the babus there, that point of time, they were all worried that they are going to lose their jobs. But we know that, by that computers which have been introduced in the banking industry in the late 80s, what sort of things we have now. Without computers in the banking industry, we cannot even imagine how we are going to do that. Same is the case with MCA also, MCA 21. Of course, of late, we have some kind of an issue that is only a momentarily or temporary issues. In fact, today I was listening one podcast, sorry, one what's called as panel discussion of at the World Economic Forum at Davos, what is happening, where Elon Musk was mentioning a very beautiful thing. He said that about the technology, the emerging technology. He said this, he has given an example of robots. He said how best the robots can be utilized. He says very soon, in a very, I mean, maybe next 5 to 8 years, he said a scenario will come where we are going to have one robot we will buy for our household things. Already, if I am not wrong, there is a robot cleaner is there which is sweeping your houses. But what this robot he was mentioning is the senior citizens, the children don't have time to take care of their advanced aged parents. So what the children can do is buy a robot, which will take care of your parents. It will be programmed in such a way. It will take care of their day-to-day requirements and all. It will take care of the parents. Not only that, day-to-day requirements means about their daily routine, about their food, medicines, etc. Even sometimes even the security aspect also. If anyone is interested, please go through that thing that okay in that this panel discussion. It was a quite interesting one, really mind-boggling thing that if you visualize that. At the same point of time, I am not sure that how many of you see. There is one Malayalam movie in the name of Kunjappan. This Kunjappan, please, it is there if I am not wrong in the Prime or Netflix videos. Please go through that. Exactly what Elon Musk was mentioning today. Some director during the COVID period, this movie I have watched it on the OTT platform, Kunjappan. Exactly that the person who made a robot and has given to his father to take care of him. So this is what is going to be technology which is going to emerge in the in the present scenario. How it is going to be useful to our profession as CS professionals? How can our CA professionals, any professional, how to get the benefit out of it? Shujat, now kindly take over and spread your wisdom to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sudhakar sir. Let me just
One,
share
one minute.
these.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sudhakar. You rightly touched upon that particular movie, which also I watched actually. And ultimately, in the end of the climax, he also shows how it is
Yes.
programmed, what is the things it is there. That
Correct,
is exactly the point.
correct.
Another thing is when you are actually talking about the human mind, it is not today, about 10 years back. It was actually one of the mall we went, they have announced, B1, B2, buy one, B1. What is that? B2, get one. Buy two, get one free.
Buy to get one.
Yeah. So this was priced, 300 rupees for two, and one you get free. We actually bought that. And ultimately, some other we wanted to change the color, which we did not like it, what we got into the free. We wanted to exchange it. When we went to the exchange, initially we have been told, it's a very simple process. You go to the customer care and you will give it, they will create the credit voucher. You can get it exchanged. When I went and did all those things, ultimately what happens, he says, you have to pay 50 rupees for getting the exchange. Because 300 rupees, 300 divided by 3, 100 rupees, I give you a credit 100. But if you are taking a new piece, it is costing 150, you pay 50 rupees. But let me tell you, some other at that particular time, the mindset, the people who are working below, they never wanted to understand. They don't want to listen. No. What computer says is correct. What it is, this is what it is. You have to go by that. If you want to do it, all those argument has taken place. Ultimately, I have to call his senior, his supervisor, and other fellows. Finally, somebody has realized, sir, what is actually programmed commanded, it is following it. It is what is doing is wrong. So I will manually adjust it. You please exchange it. We will change it. But changing it will take another 10 days. I have to get into this. So these sort of the things are there actually. So that is what I initially said. In fact, we should command the AI, not AI should command to us. That's not the situation. I think Sujat will get us. We'll get to know more things of that. I just thought of sharing it. Okay, over to Sujat, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Bhagesh and Sudhakar, sir. I think you gave a very good context, even though you've been kept on saying limited knowledge and all, but you gave a very good context about, the various use cases and the advantages and also the pros and cons. And Sudhakar, sir, also talked about, certain uh, very practical perspectives and specifically the Elon Musk related stuff and all. And I think it's just a quick disclaimer. So, I mean, even I also would be sharing some of the thoughts, having limited knowledge itself, because the subject is new. So it's just that, I mean, we had a little bit more interest to study more. So that's one quick disclaimer. So what, I would be doing today, so I have some content, ready. So because we have all kinds of audience, right? Just to get all of them on a level playing field. So we have few slides. So I'll run through that slides. Alongside, I have a Mentimeter engagement session, so we will do that. And simultaneously, if you have any questions, just keep putting in the chat box. So once we are done with the session, and when again we'll come back to an interactive mode, if that is fine with all of you. So that's going to be the format for the program. And also, I think one of the point I just want to mention is that from Institute of Company Secretary standpoint as well. So I was fortunate enough to be part of the AI task force of ICSI. So where Institute is actually, cognizant, of the whole revolution of AI and what exactly the Institute has to do. So I just want to mention few initiatives which ICSI is already started. I think one, they've done a deep dive, stakeholders session with all the employees and identified what are the areas within the Institute of Company Secretaries in terms of the way the institute should run, in terms of membership services, in terms of student services. What are the areas which the institute can actually deploy the AI tools? I think that is one aspect which is being worked on, so that the member services or the student services can definitely help. Of course, when they talk about how in learning and development, what kind of a changes they can do in terms of examinations, in terms of a research. So all of these aspects, use cases have been discussed. So that is one aspect. The second aspect is, in terms of working with some AI tools, have some tools ready which can be available for free for the members. It could be with respect to the research and so on and so forth. So that is another area which is being explored. So possibly a simple example could be, let's say, ChatGPT. We have chartered secretary around 30 years or for 30 years or so. Having all of the chartered secretaries together and make life easy in terms of chartered secretary GPT, or for that matter, for the CS students, getting all the syllabus, study material at one place. So that is one of the initiatives being discussed. Alongside that, on AI governance as well, because now alongside corporate governance, one of the important elements for the boards which are they are discussing, which we will of course discuss, is how the AI governance is equally important. So from that standpoint, what are the best practices, for the organization to adopt a AI governance code? So how a company secretary can play a role. There can be a model, AI governance code. So institute is planning to develop that. So these are some of the areas which, ICSI is trying to, work around these areas, which I'm sure, institute, would work on this. So that's one thought which I just wanted to share, because the topic is AI and the profession of company secretaries. So from ICSI standpoint, these are some of the things which are being worked out.
In fact, Shiyat, since you are there on the AI committee, please, that what you have mentioned just now about the chartered secretaries, it is so much of knowledge is there in that, especially in the old chartered secretaries. If you can get that thing in all 50 years, whatever the volumes are there, in an easily accessible way, it will be quite helpful to all the people.
Correct. So these are some of the, I mean, as a task force, our role was to give a barrage of ideas and use cases. So we have given so many ideas, use cases, and I hope the new council, will, implement all of those. Yeah. So with that, again, as I've said, what we'll try to do is that, we'll also try to understand a little bit of terminologies around what AI is, automation, RPAs, and all. Not getting too much into the technology, but still just get familiarized around the terminologies is just what we'll try to do. Then we will try to see in terms of company secretary profession, largely being a governance, risk, and compliance leader, what has been the traditional role and how some of the AI related tools can be actually used. So we'll talk about various use cases around that. Then, of course, we'll talk about certain risks as well, the AI governance, and from a regulatory perspective, what's going on, and of course the path ahead. So that's the model which we'll follow. And I think this conversation at this point of a time is of course very timely, because as Sudhakar ji mentioned today, if you see any the global conversations, of course the top topics are you name it, G20, bilateral conversations. Of course, terrorism is the one topic which is always there. Alongside tariffs and trade is the topic which has been significant, and climate and sustainability has been a favorite topic. But now, as you see, artificial intelligence also has found its way, and country to country discussions are also happening on the AI related topic, right? And from that standpoint, I think it's pretty important for all the boards, even at the boards as well. I can say that this topic is taking a lot of importance. So now I have seen boards saying that, hey, we want to learn about AI, because most of the board members and all, I mean, just like all of us, I mean, they also want to learn. So I've started seeing a trend wherein boards are asking the companies to, organize a specific session for them in terms of learning. That's one aspect. Secondly, they're also asking, okay, what the organizations are doing in terms of an AI, and started having a separate agenda item, right? In some of the organizations I've seen, they're transforming their digital and IT committees alongside AI as well, so in subcommittees, and working on the charters and all. So I think all of these things makes us really important for us to upskill, upgrade, and see what's happening around this topic. And of course, implementation of technologies and all. I mean, automation, robotic process, outsourcing. All of these things were still there, but now how do you use the new technologies is also equally important in this whole context. So I was just trying to do a quick research around what some of the top global firms like Big Fours and McKinsey's, or if you do a quick analysis of some of the key headline items which you are getting. I mean, what we see is that everyone is talking about AI adoption as a mainstream, but value of creation is still an aspect which they're still seeing around. We see a lot of talk last 1 2 years. There's a lot of hype and all, but I mean, some of the research still says that, I mean, the value creation is something which they're really looking for, and that's what some of these surveys do talk about. And data quality and governance is an important element as the organizations are adopting AI. And at the same time, clear board ownership, and as to how the program can be governed, who should do it. That's also a lot of discussion around the boards, and how do they redesign the existing workforce in terms of adopting AI. That's again a headline item. And of course, AI will transform tasks more than eliminate jobs, as Professor Balkishan did mention. I think this one cliched question will always be there in most of the conferences, that will AI replace human beings? Will AI replace company secretary? Will AI replace lawyers? A lot of these questions, keep on coming in. That's a cliched question, and the cliched answer is also there, which you are all aware. The cliched answer is that, AI will not replace human being or professional, but a professional who is using AI, who understands AI, will definitely replace the professional who doesn't understand or doesn't upgrade or upskill themselves with AI or any technology tools. I think that is definitely a case which is well accepted. So again, I mean, Gen AI is accelerating its adoption. We will talk about more about the Gen AI as well. Again, governance is a board level responsibility. That is what I was trying to talk about. AI governance is a big subject which is there. And again, the next phase of AI is scale, discipline, and trust. I think these are some of the headline items what you can quickly get what is going on, and based on the research done, based on the conversations happened with various global leaders and all. I mean, it is at a very high level. Again, in terms of a data, because at the end of the day, we were keen about the data. So again, if you see some of the survey around the AI, you can see a quick data. I think what it says is 70% of organizations are using AI already, at least in one business function. Again, it's all global, not India specific. It's largely a global surveys. Uh, and more than 20% report material financial impact from AI at scale. So some of the organizations are seeing a good financial impact. At the same time, slightly a contrarian view. The PwC CEO survey says that still a lot of CEOs are not seeing a measurable ROI from AI investments. Again, this becomes an important element for an organization for pushing for AI investment, as to have a clear cut ROI models, because tomorrow when we want to go and say, hey, in the governance department we want to use AI and all that stuff, it definitely is a costly affair. So the ROI has to be demonstrated to get those kind of investments. Again, from this standpoint, Gen AI is getting fast adopted. Technology is the statistic which you are saying. Yeah, and World Economic Forum says 60% of existing jobs will be affected through task redesign, not elimination. So again, the point is we'll just see a newer jobs existing, and newer titles with the newer skill sets. Uh, again, this World Economic Forum and IMF says 7 to 14% will add to the global GDP. Again, 40% of workforce need reskilling due to AI next 5 years. So again, this again which we talked about. And again, if the AI failures are definitely there, it is largely because of the data quality and the overall governance model. Again, giving importance around why AI governance is equally important when an organization is planning to implement the AI tools. And of course, in terms of the risks as well, more than 75% executive side AI risk ethics trust as a major concern. So while there is a lot of focus on the advantages, right? There is equally focus on the ROI which has to be achieved, workplace redesigning, at the same time keeping view of AI governance. All of these things are some of the things which are important. And of course, as a company secretary, as a governance leaders, we definitely need to keep track of what global leaders are thinking and all. I mean, I'm sure some of these points are definitely useful for the boards to know. I mean, I just thought of sharing this quickly to you. And of course, there has always been a lot of hype in terms of investment and all. But again, when you do a reality check, I mean, it's still a long way to go in terms of adoption, in terms of investments and all. I mean, the other day I had a chance to, attend a economic outlook summit by INSEAD. The professor Antonio was there. I mean, he was taking, an analysis about the overall economic outlook 2026. And there he was also mentioning that while the AI impact is there towards the economy, but I think the much larger impact is still yet to be seen, is what his view was. So it means that we still have time. It will take a couple of more years to get more penetration in terms of economic impact. That's what his view was. And again, the topic AI is not a new topic. Again, the whole topic was there from 1950s and all of 2010s and all. What is really changed is the new terminologies, Gen AIs and all. But otherwise, if you talk to any of your software engineering friend and all, they will all say, hey, I mean, we had this in the syllabus and all of those. I mean, it's just the computing data and all those things were there. It's just the way we are using it, in terms of natural language processing or large language models and all of those aspects. I think all those elements are new. But otherwise, the term artificial intelligence was always, there. I mean, this is just a historical perspective. What we'll do, I mean, I'll quickly, take you through. Yeah, just let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yeah, we are able to see. Screen is very
Yeah, I've
visible.
just changed it to. You're able to see a barcode, right?
No, barcode is not visible. Only screen is visible.
Yeah, you see the confluence of AI.
Yeah, it is there. It is there. Now the barcode has come.
Correct. So this is a slightly an engaging, exercise. What we will do now, I mean, I would request all of you to take your phones and either use the scan code, or just type menti.com and type this code. And the beautiful thing about the technology is that, I mean, if you see here on the right hand side, I can see how many people are logged in already. So we have 23 people who logged into this particular menti.com. So either you can use the scan code or you can type menti.com and type this code 71538041. So we'll see the numbers to increase. Then I'll ask series questions. Yeah.
In fact, I request all the participants to take the initiative of joining this Multimeter, this thing, because Srikanth has introduced this at the recent SIRC conference at Hyderabad. It was quite interesting. And so don't hesitate, but kindly join.
Yeah, it's
There
all.
will
It will be anonymous,
yeah, it will be anonymous.
completely
Nothing is going to be
confidential.
there.
No names, nothing will be captured. Again,
Correct.
we all are into the age of data protection and data privacy and all of that stuff. So from that standpoint, uh, this is completely anonymous. So idea is to I'll ask few questions. I mean, you'll get a chance to respond. It will also give a sense of the audience and a few quick thought process, just like Professor Balkrishnan and Sudhakar did share some of the thoughts. We'll also get a quick thoughts from you on the topic. Then again, we'll go back to the presentation, and maybe we'll use some of the data points from your reflections as well. So we have 73 people participation already in this who joined. Yeah, one of the good things about technology and AI and all this stuff is transparency. Because in the manual world and all, I mean, someone can actually, skip the systems and, find some ways out. But technology is such that, everything is all transparent. And that's the reason what you see a lot of companies now are using biometrics and CCTV, AI tools and all for a lot of, use cases around that. So that is itself is a quick barometer in terms of data. So we have 150 Zoom participants. So I think so far 75 people logged into this Mentimeter. So we'll still give a couple of more minutes for people to log in. Then I'll change the slides. Then you'll see the questions and you will be in a position to respond to that. So we'll just give 1 to 2 minutes, 1 minute rather. Then we'll, yeah, if there is a tech error, I mean, uh, either of those two should work, either the scan code or the menti.com, you put a use code. So I'll also share you a point here. One of the things what I've realized is that, when we do a sessions to the board or to the senior audience and all, what I have found is that, they would like to engage, they would like to spend time and, they would like to share some thoughts and all. From that standpoint, it becomes a little easy to, have a PPT alongside a tool like this because it is pretty engaging. So I'm sure as a company secretary, we would use lot of training element, right? Be it on insider trading, be it on the governance, risk and compliance and all. We have to take a lot of sessions to the boards or to the shareholders or sometimes even to the employees and all of that stuff. I think this particular tool has a lot of facilities in terms of engaging and all. So I would encourage you to use this application. So okay, so we'll go to the okay. Yeah, so these are live. Whatever you type, whatever you give the input, it will demonstrate us at a very faster speed. So quicker engagement. So in one word, what comes to mind when you hear AI? So some says is intelligence, some says is research, enablement, saving time, future. That's the future. It enhances speed. Some says robotic. Of course, okay, it's robotic and AI can also mix. Some of them says that it helps the automation initiatives which has been already there. Yeah. Some says data processing. Okay. Future climate change. It's a powerful tool. Problem solver help. Wow. So I have a series of 10 questions, but this 10 questions will also make you think, and that also will help us to quickly connect around the topic. For some, it is ideation. Fantastic. So we'll move to the quick next question. Complexities under one roof. Oh wow, that's interesting. So we can see a very different perspectives. Some says no need of your brain. Again, this is a very dangerous stuff. In fact, I mean, although I was so tempted to talk about some of the challenges and negativities little later, but yeah, I mean, one of the things I was reading, this whole technology and social media and all of these aspects, excessive dependence on these things can actually impact your cognitive ability and the thinking process also. Of course, we will more talk about the risks and the concerns little later. But yeah, in one line, it's like a knife. It's up to us how do we use it. Very interesting perspectives. If you see, in some sense, less dependence on senior. It means that a lot of guidance and all can be, received through some of the wisdom. Okay. Yeah. So, if you just analyze, I'll give you an example. Let's say there is a PCS firm and it's been there for 30 years, and there might be a lot of research, lot of work product, lot of files which might be there. If you just create one AI tool internally and put all the 30 years of work in that particular system, a new trainee, when he joins the PCS firm, I think the level of knowledge what he can get from the system by simply asking questions would be huge, right? Same thing, let's say there is a secretarial department of a large company. If the secretarial department have an AI tool and puts last 20 years, 30 years of data, resolutions, all content in one place, I think the productivity or the time, which a senior may have to spend in terms of a guidance will naturally, reduce. Okay, now this is the point. Although I kind of gave you AI and Confluence with Company Secretary, when we hear this topic, now what is the first word that comes into your mind? So you talked about only AI, now AI and CS profession, because that is what we are talking about, the Confluence. Automated compliance, okay. A lot of you are also talking about some of the use cases also, which we'll definitely be covering. But that's very good. You're making my job a little easy because you're already talking about the potential use cases, within this slide itself.
Sujat, actually, when you said
Yeah,
PCS firm about 30 years data, etc., and all this thing, I think I'm recalling about 20 years back when I was working in a company which is a chemical-based company. What they have done is they have actually used not this Microsoft, they use that they have generated globally because they were operating around 30 countries. What are the various problem experienced with the customer at each of the stage, each of the section they have actually created, they put it. So whenever the new person, he faces the problem, he simply goes to that database, he just click what is the problem he has got, immediately throws out the lot of cases which has been done, what problem experience, what is the solution arrived, how it worked. So that actually helps us. As somebody said, instead of less dependency as a senior, this is one of the way we were actually working at that particular time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. If you see, there's a lot of use cases. I think the participants already are mentioning, and again, the thought process here is to learn from the people and see what is going on in their mind. So I think one thought is actually helping all the 200 participants to see what their fellow colleagues are thinking and what is there in their mind. Yeah, we'll just move to the next one. Yeah, again, this is a quick check to see, currently, are you guys using these tools or you just tried? So I can say that, I have started, using this tool pretty regularly. In a very basic stuff. Earlier, let's say, for making any presentation or any research, we typically use Google, right? And it shows 10 links or 15 links and so on and so forth. But that's quite time consuming. I can say it's a very practical, very, rudimentary thing. So 10 pages, 10 good articles, I used to, go and, print all those articles and then read and, put all those 10 articles into one page, right? Then go ahead, which is a good point, then convert that into PPT, add some more thoughts, all that stuff, right? That's the usual approach of a research. But once we started having some of these AI tools, what I have seen is, I've reduced my usage of Google and that kind of a historical research, rather than that using some of the AI tools, whether it is Crocs, Groks or Perplexity or ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini and all, and doing research around. So what it does is, right, it pulls all the 10 articles and gives the crux of it. Okay, so that saves a lot of time in terms of the legal research or for that matter, learning any of those aspects. Very simple, example, and I can see a lot of change, in terms of the data quality and time saving. Equally in terms of a PPTs as well. Historically we used to spend a lot of time on formatting through Microsoft PPT and all of those aspects. But now there are a lot of tools like Gamma or Canva and so on and so forth, which makes life little easy in terms of the formatting, in terms of the putting the contents and so on and so forth. That's at a very personal level I'm talking about, since the question is here. So again, if you see here, I think we have a very good mix. If you see the use them regularly, and I've tried few tools, so it's very clear that we are all moving towards learning and deploying all of those tools. Yeah, both at a personal level there are a lot of tools, and also at the enterprise levels as well. So we'll try to cover those. Yeah, at your work level, this would be a quick question. There's beauty in automation. So in our current roles, where do you already see an automation?
It is right to see more number of people are actually using compliance calculators
Yeah,
on this. That's
mostly even in terms of automation also, I think, on compliance, automating compliance is the, start point, whether it is for the automation or even using AI also. I think that's the first aspect. But, as we, go through this, session, I'll share some more use cases around governance, risk, legal and compliance that has a broader areas. And in your organizations, what is primarily driving the rapid adoption and use of AI? Just like how we are having a similar conversation, I'm sure you might be participating in various meetings in your organizations, and uh, you know people might be having a different conversation. In some cases, it may be because of the competitive pressure as well. For example, pharma companies, right, takes 3 years or 4 years for a drug research. But now with usage of some of the technology and tools, pharma company A may be in a much better position to come up with new drugs and formulations. So there, in some of the specific business cases, I think even the competition also, is in mind. So different organizations based on different sectors, I think the driving factor can be different. Yes. So as expected, I think the speed, efficiency, productivity, is the largest driver, and I think followed by the powerful tools which is available, in the market, as we keep seeing in the chips coming in, the new AI tools, and of course, it is kind of helping the cost reduction as well. I think so. These three seems to be the largest driving factors, according to this group. Yeah, although you had still mentioned about advantages there. Let us just quickly, or else what we can possibly do is that, we'll just give 30 seconds, because you already mentioned the advantages, but we'll still reiterate the advantages, because this is one aspect which we'll have to constantly keep thinking in mind and constantly influence and persuade, because tomorrow when we have to get an investment on this within the function, I think the advantages is the key point which we need to believe in, and also have to sell to the organization and to the leadership. I'll move to the next one, because I think this is an important point. As uh, our panelists have already gave certain hints around the risks. So no new tool and all of that stuff can come without any risks as well. So again, this is also a popular topic. A lot of people talk around the pitfalls, the risks, the negativities, the cons, as well. Yes, accuracy, data reliability, because ultimately output is based on the input, updates and execution, fully dependent on AI. I think we just talked about hallucinations. Yes, wrong case laws. I'm sure if you see the newspapers and all, some of the advocates have been warned because of quoting some wrong case laws, by the AI. I think you heard about that. You also possibly heard about two big four companies in their research used certain reports. The reports were generated, and ultimately it was found that was a hallucinated data without any basis. Again, there was a lot of penalties being imposed already. So we keep hearing some of uh, uh, these scenarios as well. So if you see here, I mean, the risks also are quite a large alongside the benefits, over dependence, errors, fake cases found. Absolutely. I think all these things, lacks human touch, lack of human mind usage. Exactly. So again, if we use the AI without all of those AI governance and all those models, I think some of these, risks are, equally there. So, what is happening in today's world. I'll tell you some of the experience. I mean, in my past organizations and all of that, so where your teams are more Gen Zs and all. So today, one of the things, which I am struggling with, anything coming to me, the first filter I am having is, okay, is it an AI content? That's the first thing. Even if I'm seeing a social media content or any video or anything, the default mindset has become, acha, ye AI generated hai kya? Right? So, I think one of the risks which we as a professionals also will face, in terms of our work product. Yeah, Sudhakar sir, you have a point to make?
Yeah, I want to just say something, Sujat. In
Please
fact,
feel
see,
free.
whenever it is an AI generated, you will get the feel of that easily. Recently, I was attending one webinar of one gentleman. So it was, see, उसमें हिंदी में बताने के लिए there is no life in that presentation. So he has just, might be picked up from Chat GPT or Gemini AI, whatever it may be. And what he was doing is he was just reading that. Similarly, if you see the videos also, you will find that very easily you can make out that by this is a AI video. Because you will have that, what's called that kind of fineness, the kind of perfection what is there in the AI videos, which is not there in the normal version. So that is what exactly I'm saying is that AI should be an enabler. AI should not be the only enabler. That's what it is. The moment you see for Mr. Rajgopalan's messages, I was just reading it. He was telling it will eat away your jobs, it will be wrong decisions, blah, 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 and all those things. But provided if we are actually thinking that it will do my job, means you are actually surrendering to it, you are becoming a slave to that. And it will kill you ultimately. In fact, in that movie, what Bala was also mentioning, that Kunjappan, that robot have been given so much of power, it started dictating his father. Ultimately, he has to destroy that robot. So here also the same thing. That's why in the initial itself, you also said, Bala also said, I also said that never ever become slave to the technology. Technology should be only an enabler only. It is your assisting tool. And that's it.
Good, good.
No,
Thanks,
no,
Sudhakar.
Sudhakar, simply if you actually say, you also talked in the past also in some of our forums. Can you call a short notice meeting? Shorter notice meeting. 95% of the people are in agreement, you can call the shorter notice. AI will simply go by that, it will generate, it will say you can call a meeting in the afternoon. It will say that. But where is the question of that 48 hours proxy availability for the other people? That will never take into consideration. That application is going to come in your human mind only. Although it says it can be done and other thing and all, then you will realize it is not so. We need to actually have it after 2 days. We are allowing the 48 hours. That application of the mind has to be there. Because as you rightly say, it is going to be only a enabler. It can aid you, but it cannot work for you. Because they have to work for you. You have to dictate. Not you become a slave to them. That should not be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think use cases again, drafting, summarizing, routine form fillings and all. I think at a pyramid level, a lot of administrative, data related, processing related work and all can be, used. Of course, we have a lot of use cases which we'll talk, but I think largely the compliance, drafting, how do you save time from forms? I think that is coming here. Again, collating data and all of that. Okay, trying to see still some more use cases if there are any. But so again, we all are students, right? I mean, one thing for sure is that the organizations are definitely looking for professionals who are tech savvy, tech enabled. So I think from that standpoint, just like Sudhakar ji mentioned, historically, when computers were not used, I think people moved towards learning computers and Windows and all of those tools, right? Then from then to the smart technology, the web-based e-commerce and all of that stuff happened, right? And I think, all of us have gone through that particular journey. So similarly, I think, we are at a cusp where we need to also start, learning the AI tools. Of course, I'm not mentioning that, we have to go and learn coding and all of that stuff, but the functional aspect of the subjects and how do we use these tools is something which we will have to understand and learn better again. So this is something which will just help you to see, okay, your own learning plan as to what exactly you will spend time on, right? So one of the quickest examples is that right now, whether it is Microsoft or Google or Amazon or any of these companies, all of them have actually launched free courses, like beginners courses, like 101 courses around all of these topics. For example, if you just want to understand technology a little better, the application a little better, I think it is useful for us to take some of those courses, and depending on the interest which we are there, I mean, we can do some of those advanced courses, not because we are going to do a coding and all. When tomorrow, when we have to implement the tools in our own organizations, right, we will have to interact with the engineers, we will have to interact with the AI or digital or departments. So to have that bridge, that functional and technical bridge, it is useful to understand what exactly the technology is, so that the functional and technical gap can be addressed. So I think that's one area. So it is for each of us to see. Of course, one big thing is the prompt engineering which will come, because ultimately how do we use is also equally important. I have a slide on prompt engineering. Yes, Sudhakar sir.
Yeah, see that one thing I want to say also is that whatever you have said further to that, see if you are in the service or in practice, it is imperative for that you have to ultimately deal with AI. If not today, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, day after. Okay, you have to deal with that. So you better to accept that, better to learn it, what exactly it is, and how it will be useful to you. If you are in a service, obviously your organization to a large extent will take care of that. If you are running a practicing firm, it is for you to take initiative and also to train your team towards this. Otherwise, what will happen is if you are thinking that it is not going to affect me, a day will come, you may not be able to even survive in the profession.
Yeah.
So
So
what I suggest to every professional is at least 15 minutes to half an hour of your time try to spend for AI. But it is initially it will be very boring, maybe complicated, maybe you think that it is a wastage of time. But over a period of time, that means about 30 days, 40 days, and all those things, you will have some kind of an interest. Then you will be able to relish that flavor of AI. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that's very rightly pointed out. I mean, because each of us have to spend daily some time on the learning, while we spend on the TIPL model is there, skills in terms of skills. T is the technical skills, I is the industry skills, P is the, the professional and the leadership skills. I think alongside that, the way the world is moving, I think at least daily 15 minutes, if you spend some time on what is happening around technology, what new tools are coming, what are the use cases, I think it is equally important. From that standpoint, again, there are a lot of tools available for free, which we can actually leverage from all of these. The tech guys are providing quick learning, from that standpoint, including simple tools like ChatGPT also. All just you need to do is give a right command. I'll give an example. So, I mean, I joined the energy sector recently, 6 months back, right? So, I mean, I definitely don't know much about the energy sector. So, I mean, before joining an organization, I used to spend daily some time using some of these tools and say, hey, this is my background. I want to learn the the power sector, the electricity laws, the challenges, and all. Uh, Design a course for me for next 15 days, so that how I should spend time, what I should read, and all. And it was like an interactive tool which kinds of helps us. So again, the point is, we have to start spending some time as to what we exactly want to learn. And again, some of these tools will help us like a coach in learning some of these tools. Yeah. So I think that's, I mean, these are some of the few thoughts, which I wanted to gather. Then I'll quickly move back.
In fact,
Uh,
I want to say, Sujat, here about this Mentimeter thing.
yeah.
For every question of yours, there were 50 plus different kind of answers were there. It was
Yes.
impossible to get this thing in a manual thing or even without using this mentimeter.com. So youthful it is. That means every one of us having a perception. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. It's still evolving. So there are 50 different type of answers are there to that. Ultimately, you may, if you analyze all these things, you may be able to zero down. If not one, maybe five, maybe eight, maybe 10 like that. Ultimately, you can work around that. Number one. Number two, when I was telling you about 15 minutes to half an hour every day you have to spend, obviously the way the complexities are there in the regulations and all. When I was talking about people, you have to, why can't you watch some webinars of CA Institute or CS Institute and all? People say, where is the time? That is the main problem. Where is the time? If we think that I don't have time, but I have to survive in the profession, it will be very difficult. There is a Shiv Khera's famous book, where I can win or something like that. In that, he says that you have to sharpen your axe periodically. If you have 6 hours time to cut a tree, spend 4 hours to sharpen your axe. If you are thinking that 6 hours I will cut the tree only, you will never be able to do that. Half the way you will get tired. The same is the case here also. The way the profession is passing through the dynamic times, if we have to survive and sustain in the profession, and then to succeed also, of course, further ultimately, you have to have spent time. Where is the time that you need to find out? That is up to you. Everybody has 24 hours only, whether you, me, or Mukesh Ambani, or our Honorable Prime Minister Modi, every one of us got 24 hours only. Yes.
Absolutely, you're
Yeah.
right. When you think that you have a time, you will always have a time. When you think you don't have the time, you don't have the time. That is number one. Number two is, as you rightly said, the AI is going to be the future, because I see actually my grandchildren who are at the age of 12 years and 10 years in the school. That is, I'm talking about the modern
Yeah.
school nowadays, not the conventional school. There is
Although
already
your
a
network is
computer.
not good, your voice is breaking.
There is already a computer, you know, session is there. In fact, they are actually asked virtually to carry on their presentations and other things and all this thing by use of the computer only. They are actually doing it. They are taking a practical demonstration. That is what in the
Yeah.
school they are doing. In fact, my grandchildren are actually teaching me a lot of things which I do not know actually when it comes to some of the computer aided things and other things. He says this is the better way of doing it. They are telling me.
Yeah.
So that is the level of things which is actually happening today. So we cannot left to begin. We
Correct.
have to get upgrade. We have to get to know the thing. That's the thing. There is nothing called a scare or something like that. We have to spend. We have to understand, because we have to accept. Change is permanent. We have to accept. If you are not going
Yes.
to accept the change, survival is the big problem.
So, in fact, Sudhakar sir, if you just see what we did in last 5 to 10 minutes, we generated discussion. We actually created a content together. If you just see, this is actually a proper PPT. I mean, you can say what comes to your mind when you hear AI. You're talking about the confluence here, right? You're talking about the current, the statistics around people using adoption kaisa hai, right? And what are the quick use cases they have seen, right? And why it is really pushing. This is like what advantages you have, what risks you have, right? And what are some of the very specific cases which can be thought through in future, and what are the areas which the professionals have to start building their capacity. So this itself is like a one small PPT, which created using technology, 200 people sitting all across, and we are able to share the knowledge and the thoughts and actually create a brainstorming. So again, a practical case for a company secretary sitting in one place has to connect to their colleagues across the world, connect to all the stakeholders using technology, how they can create a brainstorming. And this is just one quick example. Alongside, we used it for our session also. So what I'll do next is that, I'll uh, complete the PPT. I'll take possibly around 30 minutes to quickly jump, run through the slides. I mean, a lot of points are
Right.
already covered, but we will quickly touch base all of those points. And again, just for a academic purpose, I have consciously used AI tool only to make this PPT. To Sudhakar sir, just to make before you make any comment. So I want to tell, because I said, okay, if we are talking about the topic of AI, I actually wanted to see and completely use the PPT through AI only. Again, only to make that particular point that we can actually use this tool to a certain extent. Of course, I'll tell how we can customize it and add some human angle and all. I'll talk later. So that was one more point. So moving on. Yes, again, I mean, I think a lot of questions coming in. What is AI again? AI is nothing but it is all about computer systems only. Only thing is that it performs tasks which normally requires human intelligence, so that it can learning, reasoning, problem solving, decision making, all of these things. The AI can do in terms of analyzing data patterns, adapting new inputs, and executing complex processes. I think AI is a little broader. I mean, all of those chatbots or recommendations engines. I mean, in Netflix, if you see, I mean, you to see one movie, automatically other movies start keeping showing in, right? Or same thing in the Google as well. You type one thing, automatically your ads also keep showing that stuff. So again, lot of these automatic predictive analytics and all of those things is possible. So of course in AI, a lot of real time applications are there, not only in our space but also in the various other areas in terms of data, predictive analytics and all. So again, task automation, various Gen AI is also part of it. Intelligent monitoring. This is what it is. But of course, what is Gen AI? I mean, when someone talks about Gen AI, so I think generating new content, right? For example, today you can generate new content through ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Grok, and Copilot and all. I mean, from that existing content, you can create a new content. You can create new text, image, audio, video, everything. There is something called in Gemini Banana. You can actually create new images. So, for example, I mean, I tried this. I didn't had a photo, proper headshot photo. So, if you can just give 10 of your photographs, it will actually create your own photograph. Or you can create audios, videos, and all of that stuff. These are all various, examples of Gen AI. Gen AI is being used a lot. For that matter, creating audios and videos. I've actually created a learning content on insider trading and some of those topics using nice prompts and create a nice video wherein it shows two cartoon characters, animations, and all that stuff. So some of the Gen AI tools can actually be used to create a lot of learning content where it can create a new images, audio, video, even poems as well. I mean, there is a tool called Suno. You can actually create a songs from it. So in fact, although it might appear a little crazy, but when we have to explain complicated things in a simple manner, you have to use a lot of creativity. So using poems, songs, everything is possible. So I mean, how boring it could be explain insider trading to employees, tech guys, rather than that if you just create a movie or like create a song or a poem and still explain all these complicated concepts. I think the attraction will be more. Today we are living in an Instagram world, in a short content. So again, some of these Gen AI tools can directly help the governance professionals in terms of creating all these learning content on various topics. So in fact, in one of my previous organization, what we did was we had one whole week of ESG and sustainability week, environment, social governance. I had to explain all those concepts. What we did was all this kind of stuff. We created a lot of cartoons, a lot of videos explaining anti-bravery, explaining sustainability, explaining insider trading, explaining POSH, all of these aspects, and also encourage employees to use some of the AI tools and create this kind of a content. So what happened is they're learning technology and they were also learning all these concepts. And I did crowdsourcing because we got all the content from the employees. We clubbed and we created a new tool, new learning tool as well. So again, this is just a one quick use case of how we can use Gen AI, not only in a professional setup, but also a personal environment. So I'll give one personal example. I mean, there is this app called Suno and all. So I created a poem and, to motivate my son because he was writing his 10th examination. So I just added some prompts and just to, pep him up, added some music. So both at a personal level, professional level, we can use some of these Gen AI tools, which is the most form which we are aware of the AI. Again, if you just see We have so many tools now: ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, Meta, DeepSeek, Gamma, Adobe. Not only in terms of summarization, there's something called Notebook LLM. See, today, sometimes to watch a 1 hour audio or 1 hour video, it may be a little challenging, right? So if you just use Notebook LLM, you can just give the link to that particular Notebook LLM. It will give you 10 takeaways, right? I mean, we may not have time to watch 1 hour video or 1 hour podcast, but it can quickly summarize and give you those top 10 points, or it can give you a one-page note like that. So there are a lot of tools around drafting and all of these aspects which are there, which we can use in a day-to-day lives as well. Of course, Sora is there, which can create a lot of videos and all of that stuff. But again, the point is that when we are talking about an enterprise level, we have to be very mindful of using Gen AI. A lot of people think that okay, Chat GPT we use kar sakte hain. I mean, in fact, some of you have seen some recent notices where people have posted the financials on their chat, I think WhatsApp status and all of that stuff. But there is one more risk which people can do, which I'm sure will come in the next notices by the company. If you think that a generic Chat GPT and you can use company data there, right? Use the existing board deck and put it in Chat GPT and to get summary, or confidential data of a company in some of these tools, that is dangerous, because these tools can actually learn and identify those data, so which is very risky. So whenever any of us are using some of these tools which are available, I think for a learning standpoint, for a subject research standpoint, you can use, but we have to be very, very careful in not using company confidential data. I mean, a shareholder purchase agreement aa gaya, okay, to review it, just put it in the Chat GPT. It can give you answers, no problem. But the point is, you're compromising the confidentiality and the data privacy. So this is a large mistake done by a lot of young professionals, right? Because I mean, it's a confidential data. So I know one of the companies, what they did, one of the employee, the tender price submission data, he wanted to create a summary, some table banana tha. So before submitting the tender, actual which has the pricing information, to format it, the person actually used and uploaded the data in some of these tools. And later what happened? Some government employee and others, they were actually able to find this data. And in one case, the MIS or the financials which company uses, I mean, to format and reformat the one of the employee was using some of these tools. What happens that ChatGPT identifies that ChatGPT or any of the tools identify that company and it remembers. See, although the tool says that we don't learn, we don't capture and all, the reality is that whatever information what we are giving, it is learning constantly. So using confidential company data in some of these Gen AI tools which are not enterprise AI is a huge risk. I think which is what a lot of our professionals generally are doing. And I'll tell you one example. In one of my previous organizations, one director was thinking कि यार ये 500 पेज का एजेंडा है, right? थोड़ा समरी कर लेंगे, and they actually was using chat gpt में 500 पेज का एजेंडा डाल के they were trying to see, okay, which agenda item what I need to ask and all that stuff, right? That's a good way of for the boards to use, but not the publicly available tools, which is risky, right? Yes, if you had some enterprise tool within the system, you can use the deck and identify what questions to be asked and all this stuff, but using it in the public is dangerous. Yes, Sudhakar sir.
Yeah, it is virtually like landmines, without knowing that you are putting your leg on that. The moment you lift your leg, you are blasted. See,
Right.
recently what happened that the quarterly results, the company secretaries have, I mean, the KMP, they have not used the word company secretary, but some KMP. They put it in the status. And after that, they realized after 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is and all, then they did that firefighting measures and all. The thing is, first and foremost thing is why that gentleman is putting that kind of confidential information on the WhatsApp itself is a crime.
Correct.
Suppose if at all you want to send it to your colleague or somebody like that, it should be through an email. That
Yeah.
also official email, not even personal email, because by that official emails are having firewalls and all those things that cyber security is taken care of. So without application of mind, if people do like this, it is virtually landmines according to me. That's why sensitization of this kind of evils which are there by the IT people or who are the HODs, who are the person got this thing across the organization is very, very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, you talked about WhatsApp status. I am predicting the next few notices to the stock exchange would be like one of our employees by mistake has uploaded a press release before the board meeting to approve, or financials upload कर दिया है chat GPT में or in Gemini and all, will be the next is what I foresee which will come. So that's one, point which I just wanted to share.
And similarly, they're intimating to the stock exchange inadvertently it has been done and all those things. It is the real, according to me, it is crime. It is not inadvertence. It is not a mistake.
Correct.
It is not even a blunder. It is a crime actually. Putting that, quarterly financial results, which is a price sensitive information, in WhatsApp status. That means, that is, you see the mindset or attitude of the person who has uploaded that.
Yeah, and when we're talking about Gen AI, because this is the most frequently used by the professionals, either personal or enterprise wide. I mean, some of the organizations are actually taking Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is like a equivalent to Chat GPT. And some of the companies who are using in a Google environment, they are using enterprise AI through Gemini and all, right? They themselves are encouraging employees to use the enterprise wide Gen AI tools, right? Or even at a personal level, if you're using those tools, of course, without putting the confidential content, I think one of the key skill what we need to learn is prompt engineering, because the Gen AI, if you simply ask a question, what is AI, it will give you that much answer only, right? If you say, okay, I need to explain artificial engineering to my 10-year-old son, or I need to explain AI to a senior tenured independent director. Depending on what we ask, depending on the context, depending on the judgment, I think the answers will be completely different. So I think, if you are using some of these Gen AI tools, either to create a new content, image, or whatever it might be, I think one of the key skill which is needed is to, use right prompts. So I think here are some of the elements as a quick examples, what you can use. For example, if you want to, plan a travel itinerary, right? You can simply ask, "Hey, hi, I want to go an international tour. Suggest few countries." That then it will give you simple term. But if you say, "Okay, my budget is this much. I want to look for weather of this parameter," and give you right prompts, I think it will give you an exact itinerary. It's all depending on how you ask those, the prompts. And it's like, okay, I've explained it like a story. Make it look more human. I think when we are using the tools, depending on the prompts you are using, I think the output will be different. So I think this is an answer, Sudhakar sir. I mean, where possibly people can try when they are generating AI content or AI reports and all, how much more human element they are putting in, and that can be done through the experience. For example, if a person like you, if you are preparing an RPT related deck, let's say, you will be very specific. You will say, give me this top 3 case. You'll ask, at least give 5 to 6 sharp prompts, which possibly no other person can do that. And the output will be completely different. If I do a RPT related research versus you do, I think if you use the AI tool with those prompts, the result will be completely different, and it will be more human oriented. So the, the bottom line is that, whenever we are using these Gen AI tools, I think, asking questions, I think, for example, when you're using tool, you can ask, okay, this is my the board deck. Again, I'm asking from an enterprise AI standpoint. Okay, I put the deck in that and I say, see, my board members are this is their background. Now anticipate what all questions they can ask. It will actually give you the question. So because you are giving the context, you are telling, in that board, we have eminent people like Sudhakar ji and Balkrishnan ji with coming up so much of experiences. And if they see this board pack, what all questions they will ask. So I think, depending on the questions you ask, depending on the prompts you will give, I think the answer will be completely different. Yes, sir, Sudhakar
So,
sir.
Yeah, I
Sujat,
see that, what you rightly said, the way you put the question, the answer you will get it. There is an anecdote I want to share with so that, the understanding will be more. See, one father has been asked by two young boys in the church that while praying, can I smoke? The father said, no, 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 by all means you can't. Another boy asked him, Father, while smoking, can I pray? He said, by all means you can do it. Intention is the same, that scenario is the same, but the only thing is the way they asked the question. The answer was different. In one, it was approved by the father of the church. Second one, he said, no, you cannot. So same is the case here also. The way you put the question, you will get the answer for that. If you are
so,
putting a
so
ridiculous question, you will get a ridiculous answer only. Yes,
Sudhakar,
Bala.
you rightly said actually, because again it goes without saying the application of the human mind. Because Sujas touched upon various things like, insider trading, and again he talked about the confidential information, all those things. So when you are actually taking the help from the AI, we'll have to be careful what to disclose, what to not disclose, what extent we'll have to ask and put the context. That thinking still remains with the human mind. Yeah, if you rightly said, you gave a very good example, in fact. The cigarette smoking and praying is a very good example. This is the way, because even before asking the question, we'll have to actually form it in our mind what exactly we need to ask. Accordingly, only you'll get the right answer. Otherwise, you are end up in getting the wrong answers.
See, Bala, that is the way. That's why I always ask in my form. Of course, I advise everybody, when you give a legal opinion, several people, what they do, they will put the question over the phone. They will talk to you something about that. Sir, ab legal opinion de do. And once you draft the opinion, give it to him, he will say, no, 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 this is not what we are looking at. We are looking at something else. So it is always better, and the good lawyers, they do that. Before they give a legal opinion, they ask you for a case for opinion. In the case for opinion, what happens is you have to frame the question properly and you will get the answer accordingly. Without getting a case for opinion, if you give a legal opinion or you are drafting even a legal opinion, you're wasting your time and the client will not pay that for you. I mean, pay for you, for that to you.
Correct. So I think so number one skill, for all the professional is the prompt engineering. I think this is one topic which we need to spend more time to learn the techniques around the prompts, what we need to give, the questions we need to ask and frame. And of course, our own experience will help you. So again, as I gave you example, sir, I think, people like you can actually benefit more of these AI tools than, any of us, because of the sheer, experience. So again, that's the, the advantage of the, tools. Of course, the machine learning is something which possibly a lot of people would have heard. So what happens is when these tools are implemented on an ongoing basis, when the systems is being used, a lot of stuff, I mean, the machine also keeps learning over a period of a time. If I started using, that's the reason I gave the example of 30 years content together. For next 5 years also, it will start learning. So it's an ongoing process. So for any, AI system, there is something called machine learning, because it improvises on its own. So what happens is that, if to that system we give some more research material to it, a lot of more content, I think that keeps on learning, in itself. I think this is one topic, called agentic AI. Again, you would have possibly heard about a term called agentic AI, uh, uh, which is nothing but, an automated process. For example, today, if we have to book a train ticket or a flight ticket, let's say, what we'll do, we still have AI tools which will tell me the best price and all that stuff, right? Uh, I will use a part AI, but agentic AI will be like that. You will just tell, book me a ticket to so and so to so and so with this price, and you give all the parameters. Automatically, you will get the ticket to you. So that is called agentic AI. So in future, I think accounts payable, accounts receivable, finance teams, and all that stuff. So end-to-end process will be completely done by AI. So that is the next level which organizations are looking for. So process A to B, complete, no manual stuff. So not all processes can be done, but some of the processes can be completed like that by putting some of the rules. So some approval processes and all of that stuff. So I just gave that ticketing example as one. But I think this is something which can definitely happen soon. So the decision making also will happen from process A to process B. A simple examples, a lot of companies are already using is employee reimbursements, right? So what happens is an employee goes and spends certain expenses and he puts into the system, right? In a typical scenario, what happens? It will go first to the HR, they will go through, they will approve, then it will go to the finance team, they will also check, ask questions, all that stuff. Then from there, they will give it to the payment department, wo jaakar ke bank mein pay karega, all that stuff. But with the agentic AI, if they use, the moment the employee puts all of that stuff, automatically based on the rules, it will tell which is to be accepted, which is not to be accepted, and it will straight away go to the finance team. The accounting happens. From there, it goes to the payable team and also to the treasury team and to the bank, and automatically the payment will be received. So again, that's just one small example. So similarly, whether it is in the finance department or HR department or even legal, governance, compliance, or whatever it might be, a particular contract or NDAs and all, you can actually use this agentic AI concept. It means that AI acts like an agent for you. So assuming one executive was working on all that stuff. I think this agentic AI replaces those the employees and actually completes the whole process. So that's the term called agentic AI, and I'm sure if you keep hearing the news and all, lot of people are now talking about agentic AI. So AI to pehle use karte the Gen AI. We talked about generating new content, analyzing patterns and all. Then the next thing is the agentic AI being talked about.
Yeah,
Again,
I also heard about this the agentic AI, but what it says is probably, as you rightly explained to me, to the greater extent it is able to act proactively rather than waiting for the prompt command and doing it like that automatically. Because
exactly. You
one,
program it. I mean, let's say process
yeah,
A to Z is there. I don't
yeah,
think so. A to Z nahi kar sakte hain. Let's say in the human realm of mind, let's say is A to Z. I think maybe A to C kind of a stuff can be completely done by agentic AI. I think that's a
correct.
rude, I mean blunt, very crude way to explain. Now let's come to the concept of artificial general intelligence. Again, this is a theoretical thing at this point of a time, because it means that it can behave alongside human cognitive abilities as well. It means that ki ek company secretary hai, almost all you have artificial general intelligence, without a need of a company secretary or a professional, can do complete thing. It means A to Z. I think this is something is more theoretical at this point of a time, but that's the concept. It means that it can do everything. So it means that, again, from a little bit of a fiction standpoint, you can actually have one board member, right? Which is like AGI. It means that it will actually behave like a board member, like start to end, complete capability, rakta hai, which can actually behave like a board member, or like a one deputy company secretary. This is something which we have to yet to see, right? That is something which a lot of people are afraid of, because once you have this AGI, then there is a lot of recreations can happen. Of course, mostly you see in the all those old I mean, some of the movies and all of that stuff, but this is something which is kind of concerning. Whether it will happen or not, no one can tell. But theoretically, this is what is the term called AGI. And of course, robotic process automating, again, which we all know, automation and using some of these, the robotic processes, I think automation can happen. Again, these are all similar terms where you use some of the robots and use AI and automation, all three things together. I think it's called robotic process, outsourcing. I think, blockchain is again a concept I'm sure you should have heard. It is a shared tamper-proof digital record where once information written, it cannot be secretly changed. I think so. This is something which can be, used, cases where the data integrity is important, right? For example, a board resolution once done, it cannot be changed, or a contract once it is created, as it keeps subsequently moving, it retains that data integrity. I think in those cases, I think blockchains are being used. I think I understand banking, financial, insurance sectors are using, the blockchain contracts and all. But again, that's also a variation of a technology which some companies are using. I think broadly, for any companies looking for automation, I think they will look for all of these. They will see what is suitable for them. I mean, conventional automations, or they can use AI, or they can use Gen AI, or they can use AGI, agentic AI. I think, or usage of some of the robotics. A combination of all of these things is what organizations are looking today in their functional aspects as well, whether it is a marketing function or in the business development function. Every department is deliberating these discussions to synergize usage of all. Of course, they have different layers: AI layer, robotics layer is there, automation layer, and all of these aspects. And when you see the impact, see today healthcare is also looking. The other day, Sudhakar sir and me were there in one of the regional conference of PCS, where the head of AAG hospital was actually explaining the usage of AI in intensive care, in diagnostics, in reducing time, in increasing efficiencies, and so on and so forth. Same thing, a lot of pharma companies are also, as I was mentioning, in terms of reducing the clinical research time. Banking are trying to use in terms of reducing the cyber crime, reducing the frauds, creating efficiencies to the customer, reducing the wait times, all of that stuff, which we are seeing. Manufacturing also, are using, robotic, manufacturing, using AI tools to, identify things. Again, I can give you one example. In my previous organization, we had like some 70, 80 plants, right? Safety was important. So what we did was, we actually used CCTV cameras of all those 70 sites, and put an AI tool which will tell me how many employees are wearing helmet or not, right? Based on that, it goes through that imaging and quickly gives a report ki itna sites mein itna employees, because it captures the images, right? How many people are not wearing the safety boots, or some of the processes which they're not supposed to do. Everything, once you identify, it will give a quick analysis. So again, manufacturing teams are using a lot of various functions, whereas at a business level, all industries are evaluating how do they use today, whether it's manufacturing, pharma, automobile, retail, BFSI. I think every organization is thinking in terms of utilizing these aspects. But needless to say, the human AI collaboration is important. Responsible development is in the top of the mind, and also continuous innovation. Now, coming to the company secretary role, again, I think we are at the cusp of regulators, board, compliance. We are also an institutional memory keeper and governance integrity anchor, right? So, and I think, we are at a place where we are rightly placed to actually advise the boards, advise the organizations in terms of how do they want to implement, what kind of a governance models are required, what kind of a risks are there. I think not only with respect to these departmental usage, but overall organization, how they are using. I think we can play a critical role in terms of overall AI integration, or AI governance, as to how to help the companies and the boards towards this particular agenda, and keeping in view the digital transition in mind. I mean, whether it is AI pod monitoring or blockchain, keeping new data protection. I think these are some of the things which I think in our survey, in our quick reflection, a lot of people already shared. The compliance monitoring may, risk detection may, intelligent reporting, keeping in new data management. All of these things are important. In board meetings, how we can use. I gave an example, right? To the board director, I would rather create a board tool like DES or NASDAQ. There are a lot of softwares are there, wherein the tools itself has an AI tools within, so that it makes the job of the director a little easy to understand the board packs and all of that stuff. So I think there are a lot of use cases like that, about board management software, automation, workflow automation. So a lot of times we spend time on collating data, preparing forms, and all that stuff. I think that also can be reduced. For example, some of the companies have already started using, because they have 150 companies, 200 companies, and every time they have to create a lot of content, right? In terms of forms, list of directors, list of shareholders, capital flow, everything. All of these things can be, used through automation, and also using AI layer as well, to make the job a little easy, so that the forms, can be prepared. So the administrative time which being people are using, I think that may definitely go down. So if you ask me my prediction, I will say the folks who spend time on form preparation and some of those data related collation and all of that stuff, I think that can definitely go down. So it means that people have to move to the next level. So any organization or any work profile will always have a strategic layer, a tactical layer, and an administrative layer. So that I think the administrative layer will definitely be replaced by these tools. I think that we don't have any doubt about it. It means that we need to move fastly towards the tactical. In a simple manner, 0 to 3 year experience person, let's say, if is working, I think possibly by virtue of all these tools, a work which can be done by a 0 to 3 years experience can possibly done by technology. It means that people who are there at that bottom of the pyramid have to quickly start thinking and behaving and working in a manner that they are like 4 to 5 years experience. I think that's the key aspect which we have to think through in this. Again, in terms of the use cases, all of these virtual board meetings, e-signatures, and all of that stuff can be used through these particular tools. Of course, the traditional approach of manual date tracking, event-based, repetitive form drafting, and all of these aspects will be replaced through, as you rightly mentioned, automated compliance calendar, real-time change alerts, pre-filled statutory forms, predictive analytics, auditory dashboards, and all these aspects. So, I mean, there is always a possibility that the board can get a real-time data, which can come from the company's systems as well. Again, this is a futuristic thought. Today, whatever boards are getting is the information what we give. Maybe tomorrow, the board dynamics will be so fast that they have ready-made data dashboards in their board systems wherein live information is there on a safety, on various parameters. We don't know. I mean, that's something which can definitely happen. And of course, in terms of agenda preparation, board paper drafting, I think these are all the areas which can be used by the AI tools. I'm sure this is already happening in some companies, but it will happen more so. I was just talking about the blockchain, right? In terms of the the board committee resolutions and all of those voting records and all the stuff where data integrity is important. I think blockchain technology can be used in terms of compliance and legal smart contracts, and risk management, tamper proof, risk register, wherever there is an importance around the date or the data credibility. I think the blockchain can really help that. So some of the companies may actually use these tools. Now I'll go towards the other use cases which we didn't talked about and possibly you are not mentioned in the stuff. So I've seen organizations using AI tools in risk management. Conventional ways, risk registers is what we are using, but some of the companies are integrated the tools in such a manner that they have risk registers completely automated and using some of the AI tools which is getting live data feed. For example, as you know, since last 1 month or so, the geopolitical dimensions have significantly changed. So if you have an AI tool which is having a risk management by the company, it will go and factor in all of these, the news, what is happening across the globe, and can actually highlight saying that, okay, if you're heavily dependent on supplier from this region, there is a risk, right? Because of the geopolitical conditions, right? Or the forex risk and so on and so forth. So in terms of risk management also can be the AI tools will be used. Litigation management, of course, conventional litigation management also a lot of AI tools can be used, which can actually give a lot of dashboards in terms of what cases have been filed. Also can give you based on the similar cases, what is the probability of winning the case, or help you in terms of the grounds which this case can be fought. For example, you have a lot of case studies, how it can be used. I mean, I've used actually one of this tool. There was one scenario which we had to decide whether we have to fight or not. I mean, at that point of time, we quickly use these tools which actually helped us the exact probability of winning. That helps the organizations to take, okay, should you fight or mediate or settle or go for other alternative dispute resolution. So litigation management can be used. I think compliance management, although while technology is using, what is happening is that if you want to do a AI tool, you can say, okay, we want to do a quick audit imagine a situation of 80 factories and all that stuff. Within the tool, you can put some of the prompts and say, okay, just check me the PF compliance of this particular site across all these factories and all that stuff. I mean, you can give the AI layer in this, or you can put some of the alert mechanisms as well. So in the compliance management also, this can be used. A lot of law firms have started using AI tools on the due diligence side. So this is something what I heard from a lot of law firms. They are using various tools, because if you know, the due diligence exercise is huge exercise. Contracts, employment, litigation, right? Several of aspects have to be analyzed, and the costs of litigation, timing, and diligence is so much. So they are using some of these AI tools to do a primary reports of the due diligence. Of course, the human layer will always be there. Legal research, as I just mentioned, now through some of these Gen AI tools and existing Manupatra or SEC Online, everyone is building an AI layer to these tools. Drafting and summarizing, we already talked about. Contract management is one more area which a lot of companies are using, because how to summarize the contracts, how to find some of the risk areas in the contracts, based on certain risk, what changes have to be done. So for organizations which is heavy on EPC, heavy on routine contracts, they're using AI layers as well. Document management, again, LMS, learning management system, I already talked about. How do you create automatic tools so that there's no manual intervention? Create a content, and you also track the mandatory coaching, and so that you can find out the number of compliances, how many people have done or not. So LMS, guidance chatbots. For example, one chatbot will be there. It can answer all questions for you. Based on the historical knowledge, it will tell you whether this is RPT or not, approval chahiye kya nahi, whether the board approval is needed, all kinds of stuff. So at least at a preliminary level, chatbots also can be deployed, like a virtual compliance assistant. For the companies who are heavy on patents, intellectual property management, that is a use case. Ethics and compliance program, investigations, automatic fraud detection, forensics, vendor risk identification, knowledge management, or for that matter, ESG reporting, right? I mean, a lot of companies are doing ESG reporting. So how do they analyze the risk areas? How do they prepare the report? Whether there are any errors or not. So for all of these use cases, conventionally, there might be technology solution which is already there. What is going to change is that they are going to add this AI layer and Gen AI layer to this whole stuff, so that the report generation, prediction, data, patterns, risk assessment, all these things can be used in a best case. Again, what I have seen is, I speak to general counsels, compliance officers, chief risk officers all across. So what I see is that every company is trying to do something or the another. I mean, at a proof of concept level, or started using something or the another, depending on their complexity. So the use cases are definitely wide for this particular stuff. But again, as we all just discussed, it can understand intent, but it can't apply the fiduciary judgment, or assess the reputational risk, or cannot take full legal accountability, and of course cannot replace the professional direct discretion. I think all these things is good, but it's still that human layer is equally important. And when I asked about the risks around this, of course, as you rightly mentioned, data is a one risk, cloud storage, jurisdiction, loss of legal privilege, data governance requirements, vendor related risks are there, hallucination issues are there, errors could be there, human verification is definitely important, right? Incorrect information risk is there. Of course, these are all the limitation side. Also, data privacy, errors, bias, all these are all there, and that is where a proper confluence is needed by the business, by the technology teams, by the governance professionals, so that while you take the advantages of the system, but at the same time, we have to mitigate some of these risks as well. Uh, Again, one more concept, which we just talked about is the AI governance, as to what AI can be used, what AI cannot be used, right? That is a area which organizations have to think for themselves and create a AI governance code or AI usage policy, right? And from that standpoint, it needs to talk about accountability. It needs to talk about where the failures lies. All those concepts have to be explained within the organizations in terms of a proper AI governance code. So again, skills likely to decline when it comes to the Confluence and all of that stuff. Of course, the manual drafting, the traditional mechanical approach, data compilation without insight, pure play transactional, whatever I was talking about at the bottom of the layer. I think that will definitely decline. And what will gain more importance is to how we can design the systems, how we can guide the architecture part of it, how we use the data to help anticipate the risk, right? And how the overall ethical leadership and judgment can be used, cross functional strategic thinking. I think these are all the skills which we need to start learning to adapt to this the moving targets which we have. Of course, Sudhakar ji, in one of the point he was mentioning how the generational shift can happen. So I think I really don't think so that as a challenge, Sudhakar sir, because I think what's happening is, I'm sure when possibly you would have started your career, maybe you would have not used the computers. I mean, I can say in our generation I started off with computers, but if you see how you guys are performing today, I mean, you've successfully seen all the generations and are adopting the technology. Of course there will be some challenge to start with, but what some of this survey talks about is that actually the senior partners are the faster adapters here. And of course junior associates will be most impacted if they don't implement or adopt themselves the faster. But yes, I think that fear will always be there. Okay, I mean, yeah, I think one of the person said that, oh, we don't need to seek more guidance from the seniors. But what I would humbly feel is that I think that senior guidance, this is not a replacement to the wisdom, because ultimately some of these tools are nothing but it's a combination of a data which is already there in the internet, books and all that stuff. But what is there hidden in Sudhakar sir's mind of 4 decades of experience, or 4 decades of experience of Balkrishnan sir's, may not be there anywhere in the internet, or the tool also will not be there, right? I think that part cannot be replaced by any technology. And from that standpoint, I think that guidance will always be required, is what I feel. So human expertise, professional judgment, review and validation. So I think blindly using any AI tool is the biggest disaster. I think even if you have to use the tools, you have to use with akal. It says no, nakal karne ke liye bhi akal chahiye. That's a very historical thing. But for using AI, I think we need more akal, because we have to actually see what newer element which we can add to that particular tool. Always have to do a proofreading and add that human element and use technology as a assistant. I mentioned to you about a lot of errors which happened earlier. So you will continue to see those examples of failures, right? That will be there. And ultimately, I think what I feel is at a next level, AI governance is something as a key topic. We need to take it, and we need to steal that particular area and say we are the AI governance champions, and start helping the organization in preparing AI governance code, AI usage policies for the companies and all, because we understand technology, we understand governance, we know the risk and all these aspects. So I think that's an area which we need to take, and we can always draw experience from the European Union Act is there, US, UK, Canada, Brazil. They have already created a EU AI Act, what can be done, what cannot be done in all those areas. I think if we read some of these codes and club into the organization, we can come up with a AI code. Even India also has recently come up with AI guidelines. Of course, they all talk about the same aspect. Use AI, but keep accountability in mind, keep transparency in mind, bias, data protection, all those aspects what we discuss, can help to create a nice AI governance code for the organization, which the boards can adopt, and that will be a guidance factors for all the departments to use. So, bottom line is that, I mean, we do have a irreplaceable human role in the boardroom. I mean, sensing the board, reading board dynamics, advising on the tone and the timing and all of those aspects. I think AI cannot replace yet. So I think from that standpoint, what we can do is capacity building constantly, continuously monitor what's changing. I already talked about AI governance. We keep looking on various use cases and experimenting it. And of course, see, some of the new roles which can come in could be like this. I mean, we may possibly see in next 5 to 10, 5 years or so, new roles like this: AI Governance Council, Chief AI Risk Officer, and so on and so forth. Of course, these are all futuristic, but I'm sure in the next 5 to 10 years, when organizations are fully implementing all of these aspects, I think all these things will become important. So the people who may lose jobs, I mean, I don't think so they will lose jobs. It's about workplace redesigning. They will be a nice bridge of function and technology. I think that's where I think the next generation has to start thinking around bridging the gap by being a strong tech savvy guy and at the same time a strong governance professional. I think that confluence, that blend of law, AI, governance, risk and compliance, ethics and data. I think if the current professionals, including all of us, if you think this as an intersection, I think that will be really helpful. Is what I would feel. I think that's all. I would say that I mean, it will definitely transform governance, and it's a great leadership opportunity for all of us, and our role is definitely critical. So, I mean, these are some of the thoughts. Now we'll open it for the questions. Actually, sorry for that monologue, but I actually
Yeah,
wanted
it was
to,
quite good. Yeah, quite good.
completely give
Very
it up.
much required. So, yeah, we appreciate
So,
that.
Sujat, you said very correctly. In fact, as you rightly pointed out, we are all being the old timer, at least for me, being a 78 years old. I started with the typewriter. Those days, we used to type out our reports through the typewriter, dictating to the stenographer. And they used to type. But virtually, we don't apply our mind, we don't read. I'll just give you two examples. One of the time I said, we have been facing color problem in the sintering furnace section in manufacturing. The lady typed, we have been facing the labor problem in the sintering furnace. If it goes without verification, then the chaos would have been created. Immediately, my chief executive would have asked, what labor problem you are facing? That would be the next question would have come. That is one thing. In second thing, it is a very funny mistake she made. I said, we are facing a side wire problem. She actually typed, we are facing side wife problem. Although, auto correction, it is okay. But the thing is, reality, the meaning changes. So here also AI, when we talk about it, same thing. What you talked about, the human intervention, accountability, and again, authentication, all those things have to be kept in mind. That's the thing. Yeah. Let us go run through the questions quickly.
Yeah, I've just seen.
Yeah.
I'll just go through
Yeah.
the
Only
question.
relevant questions take up Bala. That there are too many observations are also there, and some
No,
Yeah.
observation, I'm
general
not going to
questions.
read.
Yeah,
I'm
correct, sir.
going to ask the questions only. Can a person who is not a member of the student of ICSI use AI facilities made available by the ICSI? How frequently information of AI facilities of
No,
ICSI
yeah.
updated?
I think the quick answer is that that's a proposal at this point of a time. I don't think so. ICS has made any AI tools available for anyone at this point of a time. The ideas what I've shared are the futuristic thoughts. I mean, from to the ICS, all those recommendations were given. So maybe they will implement in next year. I definitely know that they're going to have some tools generically available for all, some for students and some for members. I think that is the buckets what they are going to plan.
Somebody has actually put it here. The Companies Act changed for the last 20 years, and the SEBI regulations also evolving and changing. AI actually can misguide.
Yeah, again,
That's
depends on
an
the tools
observation,
what
I
you are
think.
using. For
You talked about
example,
it.
I mean, if you ask me to do a research on this topic, then I will use an authentic tool. For example, Manupatra, ACC, and all. They are also having those AI layers, and we will use those tools and try to do a research. But if you simply use possibly a generic Chat GPT or Gemini for a proper legal research, there is a risk, because what happens is Chat GPT, Gemini, Copilot, and all, it can use the internet data. For example, a novice like me, let's say, would have written a wrong article somewhere long back. It will also pick that data also. So that is the risk of using the generic tools for the legal research like this. So for Companies Act and SEBI regulation related research, we should use the proper authentic tool like LexisNexis, or for that matter, Manupatra, ACC, and a lot of new tools are there, because they will use the authentic data only to that. So that is one answer for that, to avoid misguide. And at the end of the day, again, what we will do is that if it is a very critical matter, we will definitely have to re-verify it by going through that particular section of the Bare Acts to re-verify, right? That's what I would answer. Yeah.
As a CA or CS professional, are AI facilities provided by the ICAI or ICSI good enough, or a paid version needs to be bought separately?
No, I don't know about ICAI. So ICSI I already mentioned to you, but I think some of these institutes will give a very basic facilities only, like I was mentioning to you. But we already talked about a lot of use cases, specifically in the Gen AI related stuff. For example, if you want to purely on a learning element, say I think ChatGPT or Grok and all, Perplexity and all, they also have paid tools like Canva, Gamma, and all of that stuff, right? So in terms of our tools, one is the personal tools which we can use for personal research, right? Two, institute whatsoever they may want to give. I think that's still a long way to go in my view. And the third is the enterprise related tools which the organization is having. So I think we need to look into these three buckets whenever we are thinking about the tools. And again, uh, caution is always there, that when you are using your personal set of tools, please don't use confidential information. I'll keep repeating that because that's a big risk is there. Yeah.
Please explain how to link AI with Google Chrome and with important websites.
No, I think what happens is Google Chrome already is coming up with the automatic AI mode. If you see, Google is coming up with the AI mode already. Gemini is integrated to that particular website, and if you're using Microsoft Bing and all, Copilot is already integrated. And for example, if you're using Perplexity, I think they have a browser called Comet. So it's a AI based browsers. So now what's happening is all these browsers and AI tools are getting integrated. So as I was mentioning, Google is themselves have realized. So they automatically gave a AI mode in their research. So if you just type a question and put an AI mode, it will automatically, the Gemini keeps coming in. So that is already linked, is what I feel.
There was a news item that MRI will now take in 10 minutes instead of the 30 minutes within the place, which will actually allow the low
Yeah,
money
I think that's
and
information.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just information. Yeah, okay, that's
Okay.
good to note.
Please guide how to maintain confidential information. That this you already talked about it.
Yeah, hallucination on AI is very dangerous. Yeah, I think that's a comment.
Yeah,
Of
this
course, it should be cross-checked independent. I think you gave a question and you also gave an answer as well. I completely agree with your view. So I think uh, that element of human filtering is definitely needed. So in fact, on a very different example, you may have so many sauce chefs with you. If you are an executive chef, what they do? I mean, they will use all the sauce chefs, but ultimately, the executive chef will add its own value to the whole dish, right? In terms of checking, in terms of verifying, in terms of adding and all. I think that's the exact role which we need to play to avoid some of these aspects.
can a practicing CACS develop agentic AI? Will they require help of an AI generalist?
Yeah, I think they can definitely develop. As I said, process A to D, if there is a thing which can be done through agentic AI, it can be done. But my point is that, I mean, you have a lot of, technology players and all who can actually help you. I mean, if you just take some help of them, I think they can definitely do it, because ultimately, I don't think so. We will be learning all those tools and all. So, I mean, naturally, you should take help of some technical guy, because they will definitely help you to, bridge that particular process.
Can we say we can create an artificial company secretary who like be sitting in the boardroom and working
Perfectly.
perfectly, but
That's
an
the
individual?
that's the AGI, artificial general intelligence, which we don't know. Whether in our lifetime we will see or not, we don't know. But that is anybody's guess. But there is a possibility, but I don't see 100%, sir. I mean, this is a fiction question, but the way things is going, 75% तक तो हो सकता है, but maybe not 25%. It is possible, but we have to see.
Where does one get the AI generalist develop and agentic AI for refined
Is it not
functions, certain functions?
like treatment of patient in ICU? No, I think, the way, what the example what we shared was in terms of giving those alerts. I think the point was what, in this example, the doctor has shared with ICU bed automatically has the ability to capture the data, the movements and all, so that by the time the patient calls a nurse, automatically an alert is issued. So yes, so it is only an enabler, rather than, we can't visualize no human intervention is there, an ICU may only completely through technology. I don't think so that is a possibility. I think it's again an enabling system which wherein the bed itself gives the data and gives the automatic alerts and hints to the to the doctors and all that stuff. Yeah. And maybe
Please let
instead of so many nurses, they may have couple of few nurses. Possible that only two nurses may be sufficient because the systems are there. Yeah. So again, it has to be balanced.
please let us know the specific AI tools with their specific use cases alongside.
No, I think I gave those examples already in the slides, and a lot of enterprise AIs are all custom based. What they will do is the companies will invest in some of these tools, and they will customize it. But otherwise, generic, I already talked about Gen AI tools. I already in Delhi legal research I talked about LexisNexis, Manupatra. All of those tools are there, right? Yeah. So again, if you can do a quick research, you will know for writing a poem what you will have. For Gen AI, I've shared. If possible, I'll share the deck also. So there are a lot of tools depending on the use cases, which are there.
Somebody says, please send the summary of this meeting PPT of my emails also. Please note, no PPT is actually shared.
Okay.
Recorded webinar will be available because we are disseminating via YouTube. You can actually access to it and you can watch it at the time because it will be available in about 2-3 days time. AI is only the facilitator. It cannot override the human.
Completely agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is right. That's what you also said actually. Any questions? Okay, that is all right.
I think we have a lot of views here. Can we get some relevant tools that can give updated information mostly on Companies Act? I think, as I said, this Manupatra, SEC, LexisNexis, and these kind of a tools only we can use. I definitely would not recommend any ChatGPT or Google for that stuff. Although, because there is a risk there, because if it are not updated, then it is a problem. So,
Okay, it is set.
I like one question of Neeraj,
yeah, please,
that
sir.
it is asking that, it is reminding me after listening the entire Ramayana, that somebody asked that what is the relationship between Ram and Sita. So similarly, this gentleman is asking, will there be any job loss of CS? So for the last 2 hours, we were saying that about AI, and he is putting a question that will there be any job loss of CS? What to answer? I think we have to say only thing the answer to this question is please watch this webinar when it is uploaded on the YouTube after 2-3 days, as Bala has mentioned. Please watch it, you will find the answer there for that.
Yeah, but again,
Yeah.
just for a summarization standpoint, sir, I would not use the word job loss. Well, but I would always say that if we don't reskill ourselves,
Yes.
then there will definitely be an impact.
Absolutely right, sir. Absolutely right. I agree. You said it correctly. Any tools for MCA filing?
Yeah, this is something, it's a futuristic thought. I mean, I was just thinking maybe in future MCA will allow like that. Then if the agentic AI will come in, there might be a future where you just create a form and automatically it will go and file for itself. That may be possible if
I
MCA allows it. So,
I think that could be possible because I remember about some years back, and when I was in the UK with my parent company, they had developed a software that time called, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was a Blueprint. The moment you put all your board resolution, etc., you upload it there. It will generate the form. They call it company registry. It will develop the form. It will give you the ready-made form. It will also tell you because the email ID is already mentioned there. Should we send it to the registry or you would like to send it? Something like that, it is there. So something might happen actually in our system also in the future days to come up. That's what I also feel actually.
right. So I'll quickly see this question. See which AI tool can produce good PPT designing with suggestive images. I had already mentioned Canva is good. Gamma is also good. But if you only want to generate some images, there's a thing like Sora and Midjourney and all. Again, at a cost of repetition, if you simply type in Google, you ask AI only the new tools, it will tell you so many tools which is available on all of this. Because there are hundreds. Whatever we are talking about is the popular ones. Then there's something called what are the tools for
Shujat,
CS?
if you say like that, people will say, why to ask all these questions also? If you put on the AI, you will
Yeah,
get the
you're right.
answers for that.
So see, today I think what we try to do is to facilitate a discussion. If you really ask me,
Yeah, yeah.
but otherwise, lot of things what we want to know about the topic.
No, in fact, let me tell you, recently, there is one new movie has come, Sambhala in Telugu, of course, that is.
Hmm.
So that movie, whether it has come or not come, I don't know. That's somewhere I read it. I put it on the chat GPT, whether Sambhala movie has released on OTT. If you see
Okay.
which OTT, it has given me the answer. It is going to be from 23rd onwards, not yet released. I have put last week somewhere that
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
So it is
So
really helpful and for these kind of things also.
tools for CS, I think I already mentioned about, in the board, we can use in drafting contracts, summarization, all of those tools are mentioned. Again, as I said, when you talk about tools, three stuff. I mean, institute tools, I would not say still it's there, but enterprise tools, you have to check within the company. If the company is already using a Copilot, I think you can use it for the drafting because the data will not go anywhere. If the company is already having enterprise tools like Microsoft or Gemini and all, that can be used already. But other than that, for the board related, you can use depending on the each processes, if you want to maintain registers in a simple manner. uh, but mostly I will say for enterprise related, it has to be a custom based tools which will again use some of these GPTs and all as a base.
I think,
Which
Shriyas,
is
one
a
thing, coming to my mind is that AI governance framework
Yeah.
is very much required now in the organization. The way AI is going to entrench
Yes.
upon completely, a proper governance framework is required, wherein these do's and don'ts are also to be incorporated suitably there.
which is the tool can produce the good PPT, changing with the suggestive images. I really do not know the tool, but only thing is I bought a latest computer which is Windows 13. It has got with the built-in tool. Whenever I make a PPT, it automatically gives me this is the better way to put it. That's what it happens. Yes, Sujat, you can answer this.
Yeah, which is sorry.
Which is the tool can produce good PPT designed with the
I
suggestive
mentioned
images.
I mentioned this point. I mean, I said Canva and Gamma are good. Right. Again, one of the good things is that you can actually learn from your children. So my children, my sons actually told me this Canva is good and Gamma is good. Why are you using Microsoft PPT and all? So again, one of the things is that for some of the new things you can actually learn from your children, nephews, niece.
Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely, you're right. Whenever my grandson of 20 years old come, he will just go through. Why don't you do this? I will change it this. I will change it that. He will do that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
in fact,
good.
my son created a website of mine without me giving a data. He just pulled the data from all over the website and using some AI tool, he created a website also. The young generation are very smart enough that way.
I read actually AI governance guidelines effectively unveiled on November 25 by the Ministry of the Electronics and the Information
Yes,
Technology
yes.
and broad. Yeah,
Yes, that's what I was mentioning. Because today, if you want to create an AI governance code for an organization, I think that is one good source alongside the European Union AI Act. I think if you read these two things together and see what's happening within the company, I think you can actually create a AI governance framework for the respective organization.
that is all the questions we have actually. Let us see anybody has risen the hand here. Mhm. I can actually see there are two hands are risen. One is actually Raj Garg
Yeah, if they want
and
to
the other
speak, I
is
think
actually
I don't know whether you
yeah,
have the facility
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. We
unmuting.
can.
So yeah,
We have a facility.
yeah,
Yes,
we can
Raj
just
Garg.
hear from
You
people.
can unmute and you can speak also. Any one of you, Raj Garg or Yogesh or Lashmikant. Yeah. Yes, Lashmikant. Any one of you.
Lakshmikant Kothari here. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
very
you're
much,
audible.
very much. Go ahead.
So, see, I'm practicing CA, for over 30 years. And which is why the reason I asked whether the AI facilities of ICAI or ICSI are good enough. Because last weekend I had attended one free course on AI by Money Control. And then whatever I learned, I use it in the facilities available on ICAI, provided by ICAI. So this is a members and students base, no? So you have to give your membership number, and then you have access to direct tax, indirect tax, corporate governance, auditing standards, etc. So at least, so I thought that possibly the ICSI also would be having a similar kind of facility. So I think
Yes.
there was one question that what tools CS can use. So I think for basic, see, yesterday I was doing something, but I did not get the advanced research. So then probably what is available even on the ICAI facility is not fully updated, but at least the purpose of raising my hand was that there was some question as to what tools the CAs can use. So answer to that is a CA institute is providing that they have paid some money to Chat GPT. So basic information relating to CA practice are already available to the ICAI members and students based on their membership number or student identification number, etc. That is only for information of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. I think ICSI still has not come up with any such tools. But till such time, I think all of those Gen AI tools which are already there for drafting, summarizing research and all, which I already mentioned, I think can definitely be
No, but then in that
used.
case, each member will have to pay for this. No, here CA
There are
Institute
free
pays.
tools also, Lakshmikanji. What
Acha,
happens
okay.
with some of these tools?
Okay,
See,
okay.
if you are a power user,
Hmm.
then you need to do an enterprise. They need to take a payment version. But otherwise, all the tools which I've talked about has a free versions also. Only thing is their capacity of you can't ask possibly spend too many hours. It will stop you saying that boss आज का limit इतना ही है. It's like 1 घंटा तक use कर सकते हो or up to this much of questions only you can ask. Some of those things are always there.
Which in ICA web, this one it is unlimited time, any number of
Correct.
topics. So to that extent, an institute pays, So as long as you are a member or a student, you can use those facilities. That is for the
Yeah, but
knowledge
that's
of.
always a good thing that if institutes can come up with that kind of
Ha,
tools, it will
ha.
only help the students and the members. I agree with you,
Correct,
sir.
correct. That is
Thank
what.
you.
Thank you, thank you.
Next question.
Yes, Yogesh.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
very
yes.
much.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My question was similar to the question which was being raised by Lakshmikant sir. I am a CA, so we have CA GPT, and you just talked about Chartered Secretary GPT. So can I access that also?
So, again, as I said, I mean, they're still not launched, but once they launch it, I'm sure they will have 3 models. As I said, one is for general public, second for members and students. Yeah, the advice what we gave at the task force is to make available for certain things free, certain things for payment and all that stuff. So now it is for the council to decide.
So
But
as
actually,
of
see
now,
that,
it is not available.
As of now, it is not available.
Okay.
I
yeah,
can
one thing is
definitely
there,
see a lot
when
of
these institutes are providing some platforms like this, you put your confidential information on that and you can use that chat GPT, I mean, whatever that tools are there. See, whenever you are having confidential information, you cannot put that in this kind of public platforms.
maybe for research only he's asking. So again,
Yeah,
we have
for
to be
research, it is fine.
Yeah, I'm asking for
research and
research
learning.
only.
Then it's
Yes.
fine.
Research, learning, and some basic drafting and all without using confidential data.
Correct,
So
correct.
yeah, correct. So but again, as I said, we have already free tools available. You can use it. But yeah, if you want to be a power user, then you should pay. There are some subscriptions and all of that stuff is there. Yeah, I think let's ask one question. He said, can AI be used to in stock market forecasting? I think it can be used, but ultimately is the risk is for you because
Risk is yours.
it goes to the
Risk is
data
yours.
only. It's a data analysis. It will simply say, oh, last 5 साल कैसा perform किया and what is the potential. It will go up purely based on the data. You may possibly give fundamental data and all. I mean, it's just the existing form of fundamental technical analysis may elevate little bit more, and it may possibly give you more information in a much quicker manner. But decision to use it,
No, one
that's
minute,
always there.
Say, Shiyat, in fact, when you put some questions in the chat GPT regarding stock market, it is also giving you the answer. I don't have sufficient information to provide you an answer. Recently, I did as an experiment basis, I put on chat GPT. Can I hold this share or should I sell it? The answer to that was I'm not having sufficient information and I cannot advise you on this.
No.
It is
Some of the tools will say that, please, just like a standard disclaimers, it is always important for you to, speak to your financial advisor and all to take the decision. करके भी
Yeah. Sometimes it may come.
It is something like a mutual fund advertisement. Mutual fund
Correct.
advertisement will always say last 5 years, this is our performance, this, that, etc. But to no way we guarantee the future performance will be like this. You have to take a risk before investing it.
You can use that information as a base, because if you start spending time of data and all, it will take some time. What would have taken 1 hour, you may possibly get in 15 minutes. Then again, you will use your own human brain and human application, judgment and all, and take. Yes, but forecasting, it can be used. So for
Correct.
all the things what historical technology was being used, I think in each of the use case, if they add an AI layer, I think it will be used. It will reduce the time and possibly give you much better data. But of course, the decision making part, the judgment part has to be done by it. Yeah, it can also give. It can tell you a decision. It will, if you ask, if you prompt it, it will tell you a decision also, but subject to whatever
Yeah,
disclaimer, and you will have to take the final decision because ultimately
Yeah.
accountable is you only.
Yeah, it will actually say what could be the probability based on whatever the data is there. You take a call. That's it. So
Bala, you may
ultimately, we are
close now.
again.
We already overshot by 15 minutes.
Okay.
No, that's all over. Everything is
Yeah.
done, sir. There is
Great.
no
Thank
more
you.
questions. There is no more hand risen. Everything is done. I would like to personally thanks to Sujat because it had a really given an excellent opportunity to know better things on this. Although I've been keeping in touch with the current things, today's experience is really great. There are lot many things, lot many learnings which actually came out today. I'm personally very much thankful to Mr. Suja. I think with this, we can close our sessions. I think we will meet in next yet another session. I'm very sure people would have definitely enjoyed. As I said already, this will be available in the YouTube after about 2 or 3 days time. You all can watch it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We
Thank you,
close the
Sujat.
session with
Thank you very
this.
much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.